Hola, ¿cómo está? I'm Anura CSR from St. Paul, Minnesota, United States. I was part of the Cuban delegation for 2024 in December with Witness for Peace. We stayed at the Martin Luther King Center there in Havana. And my experience in Cuba was life-changing, I believe, to a degree. I traveled around the world. I've been to Egypt, Austria, South Africa, Namibia, Brazil, Mexico. And as part of the African diaspora, I felt the most connected and felt the African spirit mostly in Cuba compared to the other countries I've been to. I didn't feel nothing in those other places. I did, but Cuba had the deepest and most profound connection to the African spirit and the people there. And that's due to, one, their struggle. Their struggle is most in line with African people and their freedom struggle around the world. Two, the culture they keep, the African culture, the retentions, the manifestations of the spirit, of the rhythm, of the drum, of the orishas, of the culture, of just the struggle and the maintenance and the history and the memory of it. I felt that all. I felt it all. And so my trip to Cuba, I came back refocused, re-energized, repurposed to a degree, to really try to make a difference now for a country that is being punished for no reason by the United States. Illegal, inhumane, unjust blockade by the United States is hurting innocent people, beautiful people. And one of my callings is to point that out in this country through education, through teaching, through talking to legislators, by getting resources to Cuba and to the people somehow. So that is a new part of my mission in life. I still have the other work I got to do, but this one is one that I must do. I made a commitment and promise to my ancestors while I was down there, and so that is different and life-changing for me. Everyone should go. Peace.
Hi, I'm Raquette CSR. I'm a member of the 2024 December Witness for Peace delegation to Havana, Cuba. This trip was by far one of the most impactful trips for me on a personal and communal level. My work in the U.S. centers around ensuring that there's spaces where the stories, the collective experience, the knowing of people of African descent is actually published, shared, and just presented in ways that are not forgotten in the process. So the publication and the actual documentation of our work, archiving of our work, is a way to create a memory bank so that our people do know their legacies and their lineage. This was really important. This trip to Cuba was really important for me, as it gave me an opportunity to see what this particular country that has really been pivotal in the experience of people of African descent, where I learned actual details about their impact, their work with over 60 African, Latin, and Caribbean countries to help free them from colonial powers, to help them better control their resources. Cuba have been what Haiti has been to the African diaspora, a country that one of our elders has said has been termed as being one that resides in the unforgivable blackness sect, where because of their willpower and their drive and their persistence for freedom and for freedom for not just them but for others, they have been isolated and left to starve and just crumble so that they do succumb to or give in to these powers that be, that are really not able to or willing to provide fair exchanges in terms of trade. But this particular trip was wonderful in terms of me acquiring lots of knowledge and information, allowing me to gain an insight as to what my work with our people globally can look like, as well as really looking at the huge example of humanity that Cuba has stood for and still stands for. The knowing and the knowledge that we've gained around the fact that Cuba is now really struggling with very low birth rates, very high number of seniors in the population because a lot of the young people are leaving. It leaves you a little shook because you want to believe that there is hope in the persistent symbol of this particular country. But if there is not, we really have to reevaluate how we fight for equity across the globe, how we fight for human rights across the globe, how we fight for just plain human dignity across the globe. So I really appreciate the delegation. The group were amazing, wonderful, smart, brilliant people. Our guides and coordinators were wonderful, and the folks that provided interpretation, transportation, food, and all those things, I just couldn't be more appreciative to them for the time and energy and the love that they showed us, to where when we left, I feel like I was leaving my family. So until next time, Cuba, thank you to Witness for Peace for this opportunity, this experience. Thank you to those who coordinated and absolutely allowed us to be able to experience this. I'm forever changed.
Going to Cuba as part of the December Solidarity Delegation through Witness for Peace was an incredible experience. Everyone we met stressed the devastating impact of the decades-long U.S. blockade and how difficult things are right now with the economic situation. We saw the material impact of the blockade in the long lines of people waiting to fill up their cars with gas and in the rolling blackouts when we visited Trinidad. And yet, everyone was so welcoming and generous, eager to share their perspective and engage in dialogue. I was struck by the passion, commitment, and joy that everyone had for their work, whether it was the daily work of regenerative, sustainable agriculture, facilitating art workshops for children and grandparents to affirm Afro-Cuban identities and cultures, or working on the 2022 revision of Cuba's Family Code. I particularly appreciated the honesty with which many of our speakers spoke about the complicated work of addressing ongoing anti-Black racism and the impact of 4 centuries of slavery and the horrors inflicted on the indigenous Taino population and Africans. No place is perfect, but what I experienced, heard, read, and felt in Cuba gives us glimpses, ideas, dreams, words, dance steps, and musical notes of what has been, what is, and what can be possible if human well-being and humanity is at the center of our societies rather than greed, profit, and rapacious consumerism. I look forward to sharing what I've learned in Cuba with my family and friends, and to connect with the other delegates from Minnesota to keep learning and to do what we can to end the blockade and let Cuba live. Much gratitude to everyone who opened their hearts and their lives to us over the past 10 days. Thank you.